We are Steven and Jill. Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Steven Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill Dewitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about changing your offer price after the purchase agreement's been signed, and doing it with confidence. This is an issue that, again, this is all driven by questions that people have asked us more than once, separate people. Like they're way out of their comfort zone, sending out a purchase agreement for $20,000. The offer comes back, the 5As don't check out, or for whatever reason, the price needs to be adjusted because that's what we do here. I mean, all the property that comes back at the price that you sent it out, and some of it needs to get reduced because of the quality of the property. There's no way you can sell that by sending out. And you send out 5,000 offers, you can't check every property out. It doesn't make sense time-wise.
Right.
Some people, it's very much out of their, and Jill is not one of these people, way out of their comfort zone to change the price.
I do this every day. I actually live for this.
Before we get into it, this is another one of those Jill shows.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to enjoy it with you. Mm-hmm. Before we get into it, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landinvestors.com online community.
Gina wrote...
It's free. Sorry. I threw you. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I don't know when to start. I don't know. Okay. Gina wrote, "Hey, y'all. My name is Gina. I've been doing land investing for a few years now, and I guess I'm here to try to see if I can improve my workflow. I currently send about 2,000 letters a month, but I'd like to make that close to 5,000. Any tips, tools, tricks you use to scale? I currently work a full-time job and simply don't have time to sort through all of the sites and piece together that many records. 2,000 seems to be my max without going crazy. Any help from an experienced member such as yourself would be greatly appreciated." I want to know where she's going and getting her data because we don't have that. I think is she buying old data? What do you think?
It's very clear to me, Gina, that you're not a member.
Yeah.
And so and you're a perfect member for us. And I'm not selling you anything. I mean, you're going to decide that on your own. But I'll tell you, and I say this to you and everybody listening, there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. And for years and years and years, long before I ever met Jill, I perfected the right way to do it. I was doing it wrong. I perfected it. I was doing it wrong. And by no means is it perfect now. There's always room for improvement. But what Gina's doing is going to the county. This is the old school way that I used to do in the 90s. I used to do it this way because data didn't exist yet. You could go to the county, and as a matter of state statute, they had to provide the tax roll for that county. So if you go to a county in Texas, you walk in and you say, "Hey, I'd like to, I know you provide the whole tax roll and all the people that own all the properties in the county. I'd like it, please." And they would say some version of this. "That's great, Mr. Butala. Come back. We'll compile it for you. Come back next month. We'll print it all out for you on a green bar piece of paper from an IBM printer that we have.
Dot matrix.
Come back with the U-Haul because it's And I used to do that. And then input it and send letters out. Uh-huh. And then a few years went by. I'll use Maricopa County, the county that Phoenix is in, as an example. Because they were tired of doing that for people, they put it on a CD. And then it was a mess. You get the data, and it's just like a gobbledygook of mess. So that's what Gina's putting herself through that. And
right.
My hat's off to her. She's doing 2,000 letters a month that way.
I love talking to people like this because I'm like, this is great. Number one, you understand this works. You know how to buy property, you know how to sell property, you got all this stuff figured out. You got the mindset, there's just these little things that we can help you with that's going to make your life easier. I love that she's been doing it the hard way. She's going to go, it's like the gates of heaven are going to open up like, oh.
It's like getting power steering.
Like, wow, I didn't know this was possible. Exactly. Power steering and ABS, just like going from
automatic transmission.
Going from a 1950s motorcycle to a self-driving car. It's almost like that. You got to get in there and put where you want to go, but there's a little more to it. But it's so different, and I love it because then I feel bad because I know Gina's going to do like many people have said, like, You mean I hit my hand against the wall? I was pulling my hair out for 2 years over this when I could have just done this. I'm like, yeah, sorry. But look at the bright side. You know, you got all the other stuff out of the way, too. It's all okay.
I think she's
going to go from 2,000 to 5,000 overnight just with that.
And she's going to go to 25,000.
And then just having that and then setting up something like Pat Live where they can answer your phones. Those are game changers.
I think she's got all the hard stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can drive a stick shift, you can drive an automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot harder to learn how to drive a stick than an automatic. So the good news is that she learned on a stick and she can go to an automatic and appreciate it.
Right.
She's got all that tough stuff figured out, like how to do a real estate deal, which ones are good, which ones aren't.
Right.
And she's been banging her head against the wall with county data.
Yeah.
So, these aggregators, these data companies that we represent, that we are licensed providers for, do all the hard work for you. Right. So you just download it in the same format and then pound.
Do you know what I have to say this because I think it's comical. So many people say I did it because it was free. I'm like, okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. So how much? Talk to me about getting the data. Well, they did charge $100 to compile the data. Okay, well how is that free? But okay. And then they got it, and I spent 6 hours of myself going through it, gave it to a VA. And then I
or 60 hours.
Well, yeah, and then because
cases.
They gave up, and they sent it to the VA, who then took 6 weeks to figure it out and decipher and get it back to me. I'm like, okay, so how is that free? The time you wasted, your own energy, and the money that you did outlay doesn't make up for just going to somebody good and downloading it and having it in 5 minutes in the format that you need.
Free is a disease.
That's good.
This internet, the internet provides free stuff.
That's really good.
And there's free stuff. And the whole point of free stuff, like this podcast is free, is to lead a certain number of people that are consuming the free content, lead them to make a decision to get the stuff that really is valuable and pay for it. And so if there's any one single hurdle that I see with new people and it causes them to fail, is just what Jill just said, is they're just not willing to spend $100 when they can go over here and get it for free. And they're getting the free stuff that they're getting is gonna destroy their career before it ever gets started.
That's the sad reality. They're like, oh, this is too hard, I'm out. Yeah, I would too.
And so we're raising a culture, an internet culture that just expects everything to be free. And if it's not free, even like these apps, there's free apps that are going to do stuff for you, and then there's apps that cost $3 that are like infinitely better at whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And so it's really too bad.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Today's topic, changing your offer price after the purchase agreement is signed and doing it with confidence. This is the meat of the show.
I just don't go in there. It's not a dig at Gina because I don't think that's where Gina's going from. I think Gina doesn't know.
Gina's going to kill it.
Which is awesome. Gina probably doesn't even figured out yet all the great tools and things that we have. So without even, helping her change her way she's running her business, just having access to these tools is going to be, she's going to quadruple what she's doing right now.
If Gina was a lumberjack, she'd be using an axe to cut down trees. And what she needs is a chainsaw. And that's what Land Academy is.
That's good. That's a very interesting analogy. I like it.
No, you just like lumberjacks.
That too.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about this.
Did you already give the topic? Did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so let me describe the scenario here. This is what we're talking about. We send out all these offers. One lands in Mr. Smith's hands. It's for $25,000. Mr. Smith is excited. Mr. Smith needs $25,000. He could care less. He hasn't seen it in 30 years. It was inherited, whatever the story is. Mr. Smith signs the offer letter, sends it back. It makes its way to me to review the deal and move forward. I sit down. I look at the deal and I go, uh-oh. Boy, did we go in a little high on this one. And the point is, we didn't know, based on the acreage, based on the area, it was a good offer.
Maybe Jill's business partner mispriced the mailer.
Or that. Sometimes mistakes happen. It doesn't matter why. The point is, I wouldn't pay $25. I wouldn't even pay $20. I'd pay like 10, preferably 5. So now the question is, and this is where and this gets to me too. A lot of our members have come to me separately going to help me. How do you do this? How do you do this? So I'm going to try to help you right now. So you need to come back to the seller because you don't want to just throw it away. It's a good property. So let's just say it's a good property. What are the problems? It's got legal access. It's not off a highway. It's not drive right up to it. I can see a dirt road. It's a nice size, man. Let's just say it's 20 acres, something like that. I love it. It's in a great area. I know what things are selling for there. I've got all the stuff lined up, but the problem is slope. I'll tell you, it's slope, and it's a little too far out. There's nobody around there doing anything.
So this is brilliant, by the way.
Okay.
This is a fantastic real-world example.
It is a real example that I'm giving. Exactly. Thank you. So it's slope, and it's a little far out there. So what do you do? So number one, before you call the seller, I want you to have it in your head what you want to get out of the phone call. I think a lot of people don't do this. And write it down. I want you to write it down on paper, on your computer. This is my max offer. I want you to give yourself a little bit of a leeway because depending how the conversation goes, you might hit that max. He might say he might take this price, 5 or 10. Let's just say that, 5 or 10. He's somewhere, that's what you're willing to pay. And even up to 10, you feel great. So write it down, practice this. You're the pro here. You're calling back. You're the owner. This is your company. This is what you do all day. And if you have to practice with somebody in front, even in front of the mirror, I don't know, record yourself. I would even just do that. If you have no one around that you could bounce it off of and say, how did that feel? How do I sound? Just record yourself and play it back. I'm sure you will get a lot out of that.
Want to role play?
We can at the end.
Okay.
Sure. Then I also want you to have your facts. You're calling this person back, offering a different price based on what? You need to tell him what it is that you're basing it off on. And mine is slope. It's clearly 4-wheel drive, and it's going to be iffy, and that kind of a thing. So in this situation, I actually had some information. Well, let me give you the real world. So I hadn't talked to this guy yet, but I knew what I was going to do. But that's why I say have your price between 5 and 10. So when I call the seller back, the conversation went like this. Have you seen the property? I'm starting to set him up for where this is going. When was the last time you were there? Oh, gosh, it's been years. What did you do with it? I used to go there and hunt. I said, okay. I said, so you can get in and out there? Yeah. Well, I come off this road, and I'm looking at the map. I have Google Earth open, and I have Neighborscoop open. I'm looking at it, so I can see the legal access and the physical access. He's like, yeah, what I used to do is I'd stop here, and then we'd get on 4-wheel drives like ATVs and go the rest of the way. I'm like, got it. So then, and as we're talking, I said, through the conversation, I'm like, okay, you already told me access is iffy. It was, got to get on an ATV back then. Who knows what it's like now? Yeah, you're right. Did you ever spend the night there? No, I didn't camp there. I thought that was interesting because I'm like, what's so funny?
This is brilliant.
Okay.
You're just setting him up.
I did.
You're setting him up you should have been a litigator.
Oh, thanks. So this is like just fresh in my mind. I just did this the other day. So I said, did you camp there? No. I said, all right, so we don't really know of a flat spot. That's where I was going with this too. I said, I'm having trouble with the access and the slope here, but it's a beautiful property. I gave him a pat on the back. I can see, I asked about, was it ever logged? Any trees off of it? Nope. Okay, good, because it looks real lush and full and pretty to me too. So I'm good with that. But I can't see what anybody can do with it except go there like you did on a day hunting trip. And that's not enough for me to spend this much money.
You're a genius.
Thank you.
Jill, you are a freaking genius.
Thank
You're
you.
the best business partner I could ever hope for. That is just brilliant, and I'm not exaggerating. Go ahead.
You.
I want to hear the end of this
you.
story now. We don't need to role play.
Well, it's funny because the story's not over. I mean, I'm waiting for him to call me back is what it is. But I want to just teach you my stuff because sometimes I call you back, sometimes I don't. So I laid all this out. I even, this one I didn't need to, but at times I throw in some market research like, hey, I know the property two properties over sold for this much an acre, and it has a cabin. This one over here is beautiful. It's got streams and a well. I can point out, I've done that too, so they kind of know. I'm not making this stuff up. And I really think they know that. I know this gentleman knows that I'm truthful and honest. And so I set this all up. I said, so basically the end is, for those reasons, I wouldn't pay more than $5,000 or $10,000, period. And I said, you know what, look, I'll give you $10,000 now. And if you want it next week, we could even do it that fast. That's what you need to do. And then wait for his response. His response was, oh, no. I said, okay, what's up? He's like, I don't need the money.
Okay.
That's the thing.
That's fair.
I don't need the money.
That's good, actually.
That was exactly his reason. I didn't need to beat him up, or I don't want to negotiate. I wrote down my $5,000 or $10,000. I wasn't going to go over 10. I gave him the 10 because he gave me new information about the hunting and the ATV that I didn't know, that he told me that I can get up there. I'm like, all right. And I believe him.
So do I.
So
and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Correct. Yeah, the right buyer is going to love it.
Yeah.
So what I did, I said, all right, well, promise me this. Please save my letter. I said two things. Number one, please save my letter, because, in 6 months from now, if you $10,000 might sound good. He's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I said, and number two, I could tell he was older. I didn't say this, but I said, number two, I see it's just in your name. Will you promise me you're going to set this up for the kids? And this is truthful.
You're a genius.
And I said, because right now, if anything happened to you, it's only in your name. It's not a trust. Kids would have a mess getting this property in their hands. Can you just set it up for the kids, legally, so they can transfer it and have something to do with it later on? Because I think that's what he thinks. I said, he doesn't need the money. He's probably going to hang out with the kids. Well, if you really are going to do that, set up the kids, kind of thing.
You should teach a class.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, you are right now.
I kind of am. So we hung up the phone. I felt good. I was confident. I gave him my highest offer that I was willing to do. And I pointed out all the reasons why I stood behind my offer. This man is thinking about this today, tomorrow, next month. $10,000 is going to sound better. And there's a really good chance he's going to call me back. And if he doesn't, that's okay. I'm okay with that too. This was not a property, and I want you to point this out too, that I was dying to have. And you know what? I told him this. I'm not going to live or die. I don't know if I told this guy or the other guy, but I say this often. My career is not hung up on this property.
On your dirt.
Exactly. And you can say that in a nice way that doesn't offend people, but really lets them know, I got a lot of property I'm working on. This is, I'm happy to give you $10,000. If not, that's okay. I'm not going to bug you. And let them.
I have a few things to add. Aside from the fact that the obvious, where the vast majority of the time Jill does this, it works, and we buy the property for the price that she wants it. The other point is that there's a chance that he has received offers in the past or may receive offers in the future. Who do you think is going to call back? Somebody who's like this, like Jill's little speech there, who's respectful, answers the phone, gives good reasons, or some guy who's like, hey, I want to buy your property for $15,000, man. Give me a call. I mean, that's typically and then they don't answer the phone on the way back. So the unspoken reality of how Jill is approaching this is truly it's sales. She's selling herself, and it works. And so when he is ready to call her, and if he's staring at 3 offers in a file somewhere, he's going to remember Jill. I guarantee it. It made a huge impression on me, a lifelong one. And we have a show about it. So my point is, implement that if you can. Make it a memorable phone call.
It's so funny. Maybe I'm been in sales so long I don't even see it that way. And maybe you do, but
how do you see it?
I don't see it that way.
It's extraordinary, Jill.
Well, I just see it as,
I'm here to tell you.
Because I'm legitimately offering my experience and information to him, and I'll walk. I'm not doing this to be funny. I really will walk. So what happens in our system? I mark it canceled due to price, and it goes off my list. And if he calls back, great. If he doesn't, that's fine. I'm not going to remail him, recall him, bug him in 90 days. I really do have that much deal flow. I don't need to. And if you're doing it right and you're doing it like we do, so do you.
Well done.
Thank you.
There's no way I can improve on that. I used to have Jill's job. That's the truth of it. You know, Jill and I joined forces around 10 or 11 years ago. And before that, I had a decade and a half of doing this on my own with employees. And I was happy to give this job up. After listening to her on the phone just the first couple of times, I'm like, there's no way I can improve on this. I'm going to go focus on data. And so if you're, you know, we interviewed somebody yesterday. It'll air next week. She has a partner, and her partner is her Jill. Mm-hmm. She's the data person. So you might be the Jill. Get yourself a Jack. You're gonna do a lot. You'll save yourself a lot of angst. And I had to do it for 15 years by myself. So
thanks. Happy you could join us today. 5 days a week. You can find us right here on the Land Academy Show.
So tomorrow the episode on the Land Academy Show is called "The Future of Real Estate Data is Now, and it's in real time." You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
Your long pauses are
extraordinary.
Funny. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. I don't know why this comes naturally to me, but it just does.
I think everybody's got something that comes natural to them.
True. This is it for me.
It's just your thing.
Yeah, and I'm good at it. It's funny. It's like you know the going to Mexico and the guy's haggling with you, you know, about the silver on the corner. I really no, I really don't want it. No, I really don't want it. It's kind of funny.
When I was a kid, I got a summer job, working for my buddy's father's company, and it was right when computers were on the desktop and everything was with disks. So if you wanted to run a program, there was no hard drive. So you'd run a program, you'd take the disk, you put it in the computer, load up the program, take the disk out, because now the program's loaded in the RAM, put your data disk in, and go to town. And this is long before Microsoft Office. It was I think Microsoft 3.1 or whatever was before that. And we were running Lotus, and it was a large manufacturing company that was just on the fringe of being computerized. I'm a kid, 16, 17 years old, with a wrinkly shirt, and, you know, whatever. My hair is probably too long. And so they asked me to do this task. They sent me to one of their. This is all coming around to Jill's talent. And I did. They went to one of their manufacturing facilities. I helped the staff there in the front office to kind of, and everybody took notice in the corporate office. And I came back, and they're like, "You got to teach us how to do that." And so me and my buddy taught Lotus to all these people who are, 20 plus our senior, 20 years our senior, and they were just with their jaws dropped because they've never seen anything like that before. There was no YouTube. Did I go and teach myself how to do Lotus? Lotus was a spreadsheet before Excel. I was just born with this. And I'm not tooting my own horn. That's just how it was. And it really launched. I really realized at a very young age that computers and data and stuff is just my thing. And so it really helped to boost my confidence. You didn't learn how to do this. I am sure you were born with this sales thing.
Thank you. I just decided I'm due. This is October. I'm gonna do a live Facebook training every month. It's on YouTube and Facebook. I think this might be my topic.
Let's have a short meeting right now.
I'll get more in depth on it.
So I was thinking, we're going to do this. Jill and I are going to do a continuing, what we're calling around the office, continuing education, or because everybody's asking for it, and we're going to do it in a very organized and methodical, hopefully a helpful way. I was thinking we could call it Land Clinic, and then the topic. So we could do Land Clinic, and then whatever. Some of the topics are better for me to teach. Some are better for you.
Oh, put that in Land Clinic instead, whatever that.
Or do your Facebook Live thing. I'm just saying, call it Land Clinic. Let's start branding that.
Okay. Can we play with the word a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You don't like clinic?
No, it's got a COVID flair to it.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. If I'm going to a clinic, it's not a good thing.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
No.
Does clinic give you a warm, fuzzy feeling?
It does for me because I come from that background, and like in service is a positive thing, and clinic's a good thing. Like, you know.
Oh.
So, but I understand your point.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you so much. We are happy you were here, and we hope that you enjoyed this content. I'm trying to ad lib here and not be blasé. So if you love us, please like us, show some love however it feels good with you, not monetarily. Just like us, subscribe, do something. Thank you. We are
You're
Steve and Jill.
Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.